Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today is Saturday, January 3rd, 2026. The first part of my bi-weekly grocery haul, and it's also my first video of the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everybody had a good Christmas holiday break and a good New Year's. Maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you did over Christmas and New Year's, or what your Christmas and New Year's traditions are. My daughter is in her early 20s and she still lives here at home with us. And we established a tradition, probably over 20 years ago. And she, maybe around 20 years ago or so. But on New Year's Eve, when she was a fairly young child, maybe about 5 or 6 years old. So yeah, because she was going to be 26 the end of February. So yeah, probably around 20-ish years ago on New Year's Eve, when I was a single mom at that point with her. I was divorced from her dad. And, you know, little kids, they like to stay up late, right? Especially on New Year's Eve. They like to try and stay up till midnight. And so it was a treat. It was during Christmas holidays. We established a tradition of, okay, we'll stay up till midnight and you can have root beer floats. So every annually New Year's Eve since then, every year since on New Year's Eve, that's what we do to this day. So that was our big thing on New Year's Eve because I worked until 7:30 in the evening. Anyway, so let me know in the comments maybe what you did over Christmas and New Year's. Anyway, back to the beginnings of my bi-weekly grocery haul. This is going to be the first part of it. I went to Shoppers Drug Mart tonight. Now, for those of you that are new to my channel, I live in Manitoba, Canada, and I work here as well at a Canadian grocery store chain called Sobeys. And I do some of my shopping there because I have a small staff discount, and we all still can earn and redeem Scene Plus points in store. But I also do a lot of my shopping at Real Canadian Superstore. You can earn PC Optimum points at Superstore, but you can also earn points, the PC Optimum points, at other companies, or other stores rather, that are owned by the same parent company, such as No Frills and Shoppers Drug Mart. So now at Superstore, you're only getting PC Optimum points really on things that are on your personalized offers every week on your app. But if you go into to Shoppers rather, you basically get base PC Optimum points. So even if you buy things like this, like the Pepsi and the potato chips, which are not on my weekly offers currently, you're still going to earn some points just because you can earn base points there on every purchase. You don't earn base points at No Frills or at Superstore. At least I don't believe you do at No Frills. Anyway, I haven't been to one in quite a while. But at Superstore, you do not. It's only on the items that are on your offers. So my daughter and I like Pepsi and or Diet Pepsi. She tends to like the more of the full strength, like the actual Coke and the actual Pepsi lately, whereas I'm still kind of on a Diet Cola drink kick. We tend to prefer that over coffee or other hot caffeinated beverages. So things like Pepsi or Diet Pepsi tend to be our caffeine of choice. And quite often Shoppers has them on sale on Saturdays and Sundays on a 2-day sale. Once in a while, if they go on sale at my store at Sobeys, quite often it is a comparable price to what Shoppers has, and then I get them there because I'll have my staff discount. But they're not on sale at Sobeys right now, and so I went to Shoppers. Usually it's a limit of 4. I just grabbed 3 right now. They are on for $3.49. No, are they $3.49 or $3.99? Okay, according to my receipt, they're on for $3.99 this weekend. But still, there's a limit of 4. I just bought bought 3 for the time being. And then I also bought 3 bags of the no-name brand potato chips. Now, the Superstore store brand is called basically just No Name. It's yellow packaging with a black bar that says No Name. And you can get them at Shoppers as well. My husband was in Superstore earlier today, and he said that the no-name brand potato chips are on for $1.47 per bag. At Shoppers, they're on for $5, which would break down to $1.66 per bag. So slightly more per bag than going into Superstore. However, these are not on my offers right now. So if I would go into Superstore and buy them, first of all, I'd be spending gas to get there because Shoppers is right in my neighborhood. So I'd have to be driving about 10 minutes out of my way and spending that gas to go get them at the slightly cheaper price. So I'd probably be spending more in gas than I would be on this slightly increased price, right? Because, you know, I'm only saving like cents per bag by getting them at Shoppers. But more importantly, I'm actually getting points on them by buying them at Shoppers. Even though they're not on my points offers, I get the base points by buying them there. So I went for the 3 for $5 here. I grabbed a bag of Ripple, a bag of regular, and a bag of salt and vinegar, which is one that my daughter really quite likes. So here you go. They just broke down to $1.67 each. And then the drinks were $3.99 each, and I paid a total of $19.59. So what I earned were 240 base points. That leaves me with a closing balance now of 13,715 PC Optimum points, which is the equivalent of $13 in PC Optimum points. But as I've explained in many other videos, you can only redeem in increments of $10. So currently I'm just sitting at the $10 mark of PC Optimum points. So that's it for now. Stay tuned. The next part of this video will be my my full grocery haul for my typical bi-weekly grocery haul shop. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so today is Wednesday, January 7th. These are items I picked up at Sobeys yesterday, Tuesday, January 6th. Now, at Sobeys, the first Tuesday of every month typically is known as 10% Tuesday, or it has also been called Customer Appreciation Day in the past. And the last year or so, they've been referring to it more as, well, still commonly known as 10% Tuesday, but the official name these days is Scene Plus Member Day. So basically on the first Tuesday of every month, if with a minimum $50 spend before tax and your Scene card, you get the choice of either bonus Scene points, which are 200 points per $20, or 10% off your bill. Until about a year or so ago, it wasn't known as Scene Plus Member Day. It was just 10% Tuesday or Customer Appreciation Day. So then if we had a customer come through our line that didn't have a Scene card, okay, obviously you're not going to get bonus points because you don't have a card, but we'll give you the 10% off. But for the last year or year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, I don't even know. It's been well over a year. Anyway, it's now been Scene Plus Member Day. So basically, you have to have a Scene Plus card to take advantage of this day. So then if you make that minimum $50 purchase before taxes on the first Tuesday of the month with your Scene card, then you have the choice of either 10% off your bill or those bonus points. If you don't have a Scene Plus card, we don't offer the 10% discount anymore. It is literally called Scene Plus Member Day to encourage people to have cards. And there's a lot of people like, I don't want a Scene card, I don't want a Scene card. And that's fine. You don't have to have a Scene card. But in my way of thinking, I had somebody come through yesterday with a $300 bill and she opted for the 10% off. That's $30 off her bill. If you do that once a month, all year, you're saving $360 right there. So even you don't really want to have a Scene card, okay, but if you have it and you only bring it out that one day a month and you save $20 to $30 or $40, depending on what your total of your bill is, that's, even if you just use it that one day a month, even that alone is nice. So anyway, I picked some things up last night after my shift. I worked until 9 o'clock last night. I worked 3:30 to 9, and I thought, well, I'm going to grab a couple things that are on sale and take advantage of that. Now, as employees, we do have that 10% discount. So some staff, when they do 10% Tuesday shopping, they will opt for the 10% discount. So that's over and above their 10% staff discount. So then they're getting 20% off their bill. I usually go for the extra points. So yeah, I could get 20% off my bill, but I usually just take my regular 10% staff discount and try and get the bonus Scene points. So that's what I did last night. So here is what I picked up. I haven't bought any of these Compliments sparkling waters in a while, but they are on sale this week. Right now, today is Wednesday, and the sales run Thursday to Wednesday. So today is the last day. So I bought all this last night, which was Tuesday night, but I bought these on sale for $1 a piece. They haven't been on sale for quite a while. They're normally about $1.79, I believe, regular price. So these were $1 each, and then of course that's before my 10% discount, making them actually 90 cents each. And these are, I believe these are 1 liter bottles. Yes, they are. So I bought 4 cherry, 2 of the blackberry, 4 peach? Yeah, 4 peach and 4 raspberry. I probably would have bought 1 more each of the raspberry, peach, and the cherry. Those tend to be some of the, probably my favorites, I guess. But that's what they had. I grabbed whatever I could see. Actually, there was a couple, I think the cherry, there was a few more on the shelf, but they're on the top shelf, and I'm only 5'4", and I had a hard time reaching, so I just grabbed what I could. The other one that I like is the strawberry watermelon, but they had none of that, so I did not get any. These silk milks back here, these are for my husband. I'm trying to find the, what is the price on these? These were $5.99 with $1.49 off, so they're $4.50 each, and again, that's before my discount, so these are ones that he likes. And then the Armstrong cheese is on for $8 a block. And just to make sure that, I mean, normally you don't see Armstrong cheese for much less than $8.99 a block, maybe occasionally $8 a block like this, but that's not all that often. Sometimes Superstore is cheaper for them. So what I did is I quickly opened my PC Shopping Express app, like my PC Express shopping app for Superstore, and typed in Armstrong cheese just to see how much they are there. They are $8 there as well. But for me, I'm coming out ahead buying them at Sobeys because they're on for $8, exact same price at Superstore. I'm not spending a couple dollars in gas to drive 10 minutes to get to Superstore to get them. But more importantly, my $8 at Sobeys, take 10% off of that. So I'm actually only really paying $7.20 a block. So although the sticker price at Superstore, $8, is identical to Sobeys, for me as a staff member at Sobeys, I'm coming out ahead because I'm actually paying only $7.20 a block. So I grabbed a pizza mozzarella. I already have one in the fridge, but I wanted to get another one because I could use one for when you make homemade pizzas, and the old one I can use on a pan of lasagna. And I bought the two most commonly used around the house just for everyday eating, the marble and the medium cheese. So that is what I picked up there. And then I bought a coffee creamer. This is one of the Christmas ones, the peppermint mocha. Takes me a long time to use these creamers, but I grabbed one just because it was the last one. I like that flavor, and it was the last one on the shelf of that kind. And that was $7.49. That was not the cheapest thing in the world, but it was a treat. And it was also, again, 10% off because of my discount. And then 2 boxes of Nutri-Grain cereal bars. And do I have them at the top? Yeah, they're at the top of my list here. These were $3 each. And again, I also double checked on the spot on the PC Express shopping app to see what the price is at Superstore. They're $2.99 at Superstore, so 1 penny cheaper than Sobeys. However, these $3 again have 10% off. So they're actually $2.70, making them cheaper than Superstore for me. So as I said, I went for the extra points. So it's 200 points per $20. So here is my staff discount. Down here is $6.35. And because I spent, my subtotal was over $60, $200 times 3, or 200 points times 3 rather, is 600 points. So I redeemed, pardon me, I did not redeem anything on this bill. Sorry, let me get this straight. My discount was $6.35. And then I earned 600 points, which is $6 back in points. My total was $56.18. I could have redeemed $50 in points, but I'm sitting only at about $110 in points right now, and I'm trying. Yeah, I mean, I know what I say is that I always try to use up all my points at Christmas, but I did not completely use up all my scene points, so I'm trying to sort of rebuild them again. So yes, my total was $56.18, and I could have redeemed $50 in points, but I decided to hang on to them because I'm going to try and rebuild. So I earned the 600 points. My balance going into this was 11,026 Scene Plus points. So those points will have probably hit my account by today sometime. So I'll be sitting at 11,626 points, which means I am at and will remain at the $110 mark of Scene Plus points until I buy something else that puts me up there. I was not quite at the $110 mark the other day, but I picked up some prescriptions on Monday, and when you pick up prescriptions at the Sobeys pharmacy, you get points on those. So that's what put me back at the $110 mark. And then this 600 points last night, that's not going to put me at $120, but it'll put me at 11,626. I'll only need 374 more points to get to $120. So, I got $6.35 off per staff discount, earned $6 in points back. So I'm rebuilding. And my employee discount runs Monday to Sunday every week. I have $86.53 left of this week's cap. It's 10% off your first $150 spent every week. So anyway, that is what I got for 10% Tuesday. Okay, so today is now Thursday, January 8th, and these are items that I picked up at Superstore last night, so Wednesday, January 7th, after work. After I finished work at Sobeys, I went over to Superstore. Anything that were on sale at Sobeys or Superstore this past week ended last night when the stores closed. But along with that, so did my weekly offers. So there was a couple things on my PC Optimum offers that I wanted to get last night before the store closed. So I ran over there with my car. Obviously, I'm not going to run. I have two bad knees, but you know what I mean. I went over there last night. I worked until 7:30 and then just decided I'm just going to go. Don't really care for winter driving or night driving all that much, but it's not that far of a drive. And there's a couple things I wanted to get that were on my offers and a few things that I was just completely out of. So I'm going to show you what I picked up last night. My husband brought a box of these crackers home the other day, and they're really good. So I went back and got one. Unfortunately, they're a limit of one, but they're on sale for $2 right now. So they're pizza flavored. They're good, and they're quite addictive. It's really unfortunate that it was a limit of one. I could have done a separate transaction and bought another box, I guess, but you know, it is what it is. Wasn't really something that was on my original list anyway. I am completely out of taco seasoning, so I grabbed these. These are 4 for $5. So I've seen them cheaper than that. Sometimes at my store they go on for 99 cents or even 66 cents. But for right now, I just needed to restock the pantry. I decided I'd grab 4. I used a package the other day when I made a batch of taco soup. But I'm also thinking, my daughter keeps asking that maybe we should make taco salad one of these times. Speaking of her, I mentioned in my earlier clip, I referred to her as being in her early 20s, and then I'm like, you know what, she's 25 years old. She's actually not early 20s anymore. She is mid-20s. So I just wanted to clarify that. Yes, she still lives at home. It just is more economical for her to do that. Her job, she works at Sobeys as well. It's not full-time, neither of us are, and it's just very expensive here to live as a single person in an apartment, unless you're in like a really bad area of the city. So anyway, so she's not early 20s, she's actually mid-20s, and her birthday's coming up the end of February here. Anyway, as I said, I made taco soup the other day, and I used a can each of this Hunt's tomato sauce and one of these cans of tomatoes. So I wanted to replenish. The tomato sauce they were $2.99. This is the onion, herb, and spices. I used one of those in taco soup, and I also used one of these cans of tomatoes in taco soup. This is the Italian seasoning one. And they were $2.79, limit of 4. So for the tomatoes, I bought 3 cans rather. And then back here, I got 2 cans of crushed tomatoes in case I decide to make lasagna. Each batch of lasagna takes 1 can of crushed tomatoes. But, you know, so if I make a pan just for us, I only need 1, but I'm just restocking the pantry. Sometimes when I do lasagna, I'm doing a meal train delivery for church. So I make a pan for us and a pan for whoever the family is that needs. However, there isn't any active meal trains going on right now. I do know there's a family that's expecting a baby within the next month, and so then I'm sure they will probably have a meal train going for them, but that's in the future. So right now I'm just buying 2 to restock the pantry, and thinking, I have it in the back of my head that I want to make a single pan rather, of lasagna just for our family sometime in the next couple weeks. And also I was thinking of taco salad sometime in the next couple weeks too. And then when I make taco soup, I use a can of corn, and I am out, so I just decided to restock. I believe, don't know if there was a can, yeah, there was a limit of 4 on these. They were $1.25, limit of 4, so I bought the limit of 4, $1.25 each. And then I had an offer on Doritos, so it was like, I think it was something like, I forget how much the points were, but it was for every $3 spent is what it was. Then you'd get a certain amount of points. So these were $3.46, limit of 4. I actually grabbed 3 bags. I grabbed just 1 cottage cheese for right now. Normally, if I'm going to do a meal train delivery and make 2 batches, I either buy 2 of these, or it's actually cheaper to buy 1 container that is double the size of this. And then that's a cheaper way to do it. But because, like I say, the meal train, the next one won't be for probably about a month yet. So I'm just holding off right now. On that, the cottage cheese was $4.29 for this. The date on this one is February 2nd, and the baby for this couple isn't even due for a couple weeks, and it's her first baby, so who knows if the baby will be early or late. So I'm just going to buy the 1 and make 1 for our family right now in the next week or so. 1% milk, 4 liter, was $5.83. And grapes were on sale. I think they were $2.47 a pound. They were on sale just until last night. So I grabbed both green and red grapes. That was, the green were $5.20 and the red were, hang on. No, pardon me. $5.20 and the red were $4.39. And then back here I got some tomatoes. Tomatoes were on my offers, and those were $5.33. And then the lettuce was $3.99. Again, I need both the lettuce and tomatoes if I want to make taco salad. The lettuce and tomatoes were both on my PC Optimum offers. However, they didn't award me the points for the lettuce, so I had to submit a points inquiry. It was 100 points for every dollar spent. And I submitted a points inquiry. I said, you owe me 400 points because they were $3.99, which rounds up to $4. So 100 points times 4. And by this morning, I just checked my app before I started filming, and they have updated that, so they have credited me those points. And then over here, some sandwich meat. I got this sub trio for $7, and then the usual cooked ham and turkey kielbasa for $3.50 each. And then just a couple of pharmacy type items here. Got some bar soap. We were really low on that. My husband said we were on our last bar of soap. That was $8.87, and then the Imodium was $19.99. So here's how it broke down. The Doritos, I got 900 points, tomatoes 500 points, no name cottage cheese 400 points, and my total was $119.83. So I earned 1,800 points, and that does not include the 400 points they should have given me on the lettuce. So as of last night, I was at 15,785 PC Optimum points. And now as of this morning, they have credited me those 400 points. So now you can add 400 points to that. So now I'm over 16,000 points. I think it's 16,185 PC Optimum points. So I'm at $16 now of PC Optimum points, but you can only redeem in increments of $10. So I'm just basically, if I wanted to use points today, I could only use $10. So that's it for Superstore for last night. As you can hear in the background, it is morning and my birds are up and they're squawking. They were fine. They were quiet until I started filming, and then they started making noise. So I'm going to pause here, give them some food, and then I'm going to head out for the day. I'm going to have to go out. I need to stop at Petland today and get some more parrot food and rabbit food for my pets, and a couple of items at Sobeys, and then I'll wrap my video up later with what I picked up today, which won't be a lot. So just stay tuned for the very final clip after this. Alrighty, so it is still Thursday, January 8th, and it is now 7 o'clock in the evening. I was out a good chunk of the day today. I went out with a friend and did a little bit of shopping at the mall, and I'll show you some of those items that I picked up. Probably I'll wait till tomorrow morning to film them because right now it's 7 o'clock at night and it's not the best lighting. I did buy a Christmas sweater on clearance, and I don't know that the lighting would show up real well at this time of night. Plus it's 7 o'clock and I have worship team practice at the church at 7:30, so I just want to get this filmed quickly. But we had gone to the mall. I went into HomeSense and looked for a couple things. I was looking for a baby gift, but as I mentioned in the grocery part of the video earlier, that baby has not been born yet and we don't know the gender, so I'm just kind of waiting. But I did pick something up that was gender neutral. And yeah, I picked an item up for Easter as well. I only bought 3 things in HomeSense, which is really good for me. And then went across the street afterwards, after being done at the mall. We also went into Warehouse 1 in the mall, and that's where I got my Christmas sweater on clearance and a SpongeBob Christmas t-shirt on clearance for my daughter. Even though she's in her 20s, she loves SpongeBob. And then we went across the street and went over to Petland, and that's where I got some rabbit pellets and some parrot food and millet for my birds. So I may show you that as well, just to show you what I picked up. But we went for lunch, and then I got dropped off at home, and I got home around 3, and then had to duck right back out again to drop my daughter off at work at Sobeys at 3:30 and go to physiotherapy at 3:30. So after physio, I went back into Sobeys and bought a few things that were on sale. So this is what I picked up at Sobeys today. The salad kits are on for $3.99 right now, and again, that's before my 10% staff discount. So I got 3 different ones. I got the barbecue ranch, the buffalo ranch, and the dill pickle. The only one I've ever tried is the dill pickle, and I quite like it. They all have different dates. This one's January 17th, and so does this one. And this one here is the 19th, I believe. So it's got a little bit more time on it. Oh, I'm knocking it over. Okay. Stuff is falling down. So they were on for $3.99 each, which is before my discount. And then there's an offer this week in the sale ad for if you buy the 5-pound tube of ground beef, you will get the get 500 scene points. So I just bought one for right now. That was $35.29, and that's before my discount. So I bought one of those. And what I'll do is I'll divide that up into 1-pound portions and freeze them flat in freezer bags. That way, they're 1-pound portions. They're good for a meal, and they're frozen flat, so they don't take up much room in my freezer. So here is what I got. I earned 5 points in the meat department and earned the 5 points in the produce department rather, and 500 points on the ground beef. My staff discount was $4.73, so I spent $42.53. I could have redeemed $40 in points, but I did not. I just paid out of pocket. I earned 505 points. You can see I was at 11,626 Scene Plus points going into this. That 505 points will hit my account probably tomorrow, and then I'll be up over $120 in Scene Plus points when those hit my account. Here are the couple of things I picked up at Petland today. I bought spray millet for birds. That's most of our birds like that. That large package it's in $17.52. Actually, it was marked as over $19, but because I have the Club Pet card, so like the membership card at Petland, that saved me a little bit. So I grabbed that. That's a treat for our birds. Obviously, they love that. It's just a treat for them. And then this here is rabbit food. I buy it in bulk. I wanted to get more than that. That's all that was in the canister, and they checked in the back to see if there was more, and they did not have more. This should last him a few days, though, and I get paid again. It's Thursday right now, and I get paid again next Thursday. He does still have a little bit of food downstairs that'll last him a few more days, and then this will last a few days, and next week, hopefully, I can do a stock up and get a large bag or two, and that'll stock him back up. The rabbit food, rather, was only $2.86. And then over here, this is Tropican Lifetime Parrot Food. I bought that in bulk. It's also known as bubblegum pellets because it does have a bubblegum type scent to it. And as I've said in other videos before, I don't know if it tastes like bubblegum or not because I'm not a bird and I'm not about to sample it, but it does smell kind of like that. That bag was $10.48. So what I spent there was $34.56 today. That's what I got at Petland this afternoon. Alrighty, here are the two things that I picked up at Warehouse One the other day. A lot of their, well, actually most of their Christmas clothing items were 70% off. So I grabbed this SpongeBob t-shirt for my daughter. And like I said, even though she's in her 20s, she still loves SpongeBob. That is one of her things. Her birthday's coming up in February, the end of February actually. This is a $29.99 t-shirt, and with the 70% off, it brought it down to $8.99. So it's a SpongeBob Christmas t-shirt. I'm sure she will love that. I debated about getting that for her, well, to give it to her right now, just because it's a long ways off till the next Christmas. However, you know, Christmas is done, and she will appreciate this any time of year. I mean, she probably won't wear it until next Christmas, but she'll still be excited to get it even if it's February. So no problem. So I'll probably just hang on to it until then. And then I decided to grab this Christmas sweater. This was really pretty. I decided, you know, they had a white one as well with snowflake buttons for accents, and I thought, oh, that's so pretty. But then I find that sometimes button-down sweaters aren't always the most flattering on me. The buttons can tend to gape a little bit depending on the sizing. So I thought, and I thought, you know what, white is hard to keep clean, whether I wear it to work, because during December we're allowed to wear Christmas sweaters at work, then it certainly wouldn't stay clean, or whether I were to wear it here at home. Either way, I'm probably going to have trouble keeping white clean, so I just opted to leave that one, although it was really pretty too. This one was $49.99 regular, 70% off, so that brought it down to $14.99. And then over and above that, I have the Warehouse One Perks card, which just now expired. Like, it was literally expiring this week, but that gives me an extra 10% off over and above any sale prices. So these were 70% off, so $8.99 and $14.99, and then I got an additional 10% off, which you can see the 10% subtotal coupon. There's another $2.40 off. So basically $15, 10% off $1.50 right there. So, and this was marked down to basically to $9 or $8.99, and another 10% off. That's another 90 cents off. So what I actually paid for these items was $24.16, and that's my savings. So I thought I did pretty well on those two items. That's not a bad price at all. I also made a stop in the mall at Just Cozy for some leggings for my daughter for her birthday. These were on sale for $10 each. The tags on them say that they are regular priced $40. However, anytime I've ever been in there, they're never at that. They always have a sale of some sort going on, usually around $20 or so. And I did get her a couple pairs at Christmas time that were $20, although I should have waited till closer to Christmas because then they went on sale for 10. But that's okay. So her birthday is in February. So I grabbed her 3 more pair now that they're marked down to $10 each. Now, granted, these aren't going to be like the same kind of long-lasting quality that maybe a Lululemon or some other store might be. But, you know, at $10 a pair, even if they do wear out a little bit after 6 months, like usually like the inner thigh might start to be, might start to wear. But I mean, even if you get 6 to 9 months out of them before that happens, at $10 a pair, you're not losing much. And they go on sale pretty regularly there. So these were $10 each. I got a couple different patterns. She likes color. She likes patterns. She has a pair of leopard print ones, but she also tends to gravitate towards a lot of green or a lot of black. But I thought, well, these ones are pretty much all floral, but she doesn't mind that either. I mean, if I'm paying for them, she doesn't really, she accepts them gratefully. So whatever, I thought these were just some variety to her normal green and black and leopard print type stuff. And she does like color, and usually when she tries color on, she's pleasantly surprised how nice it looks. So I wanted to get her a couple patterns that were different than her usual. I mean, mind you, they are all floral, but they are all kind of a little different as far as color. This one's very pastel. This one's more of a brighter pink. But yeah, they were $10 each, and that meant that out of pocket after tax, I spent $33.60 at Just Cozy. So those will go into her birthday gift bag along with the SpongeBob shirt, and I'm not sure what else yet, but probably a gift card or 2 or something like that. And I'm not sure what else, but I have another month or 5 weeks or so to figure that out. All right, so here's the couple of items that I picked up at Marshall's HomeSense the other day. I just wanted to quickly show you these. It is January, but already the stores not only have Valentine's items out, but even Easter items already, if you can believe it. But that's the life of a retail store, right? They always have things out well in advance. Meanwhile, my house is still fully decorated for Christmas. Go figure. But that's just me. That's a me thing. Anyway, here's the things I picked up. I love all things Christmas. I love Elf. That movie is probably my favorite Christmas movie, and I haven't done a puzzle in years, but it's a Buddy the Elf Christmas puzzle, and it was on sale for $7. Thought it would be a fun family activity, although I've already mentioned it to my daughter, and she says, nope, I'm out. I don't know if she just doesn't have the patience for a large 1,000-piece puzzle or what, but at any rate, I just thought it was fun. And I mean, at that price, I couldn't really say no. And then, as I mentioned as well, there's also a baby about to be born at our church in weeks ahead. I think she's due just in a couple of weeks, actually, now that I've been speaking to some other people. It sounds like her due date is fast approaching. And I don't know yet what the gender is. They haven't announced, and maybe they don't know. Maybe they're waiting to be surprised on the day of the birth. I don't know. But I do know there will be a shower. It's their first baby, so there's always a shower for a firstborn baby in a family. So I grabbed this little item, even though I don't know what the gender is. I figured this is gender neutral, and I thought it was really cute. It says Heaven Sent, which is very fitting for the theme, being that it's a church family. I thought that would just be quite appropriate. I just thought all in all, regardless, I mean, I just thought it was really cute. It's gender neutral. It's very soft, and it's a 3 to 6 month size. That outfit was $12.99. And then over here, I found this sign to put out with my other Easter decor, and that was, I believe, $9.99 for that. So $9.99 for that, $12.99 for the sleeper, and $7 for the puzzle. And you can see that at HomeSense I spent $34.90. All right, it is Tuesday, January 13th now, and it is time to finally finish this video. These are items that I picked up on Sunday, January 11th after work. And I broke one of my cardinal rules of not redeeming points. Typically I start in January, I start saving up my PC Optimum and Scene Plus points and don't touch them all year until December to use at Christmas time. Well, I redeemed some points, but I had some left over. When I finished out 2025, I hadn't used all of my Scene Plus points. I still had some left. And so I used $20 in points on Sunday night towards these blankets. And then I'm still left with a decent amount to start off the new year with. So here is what I did. You might recognize this blanket from a previous video. I had bought one of these at my work, and I said I was mailing it to my sister for Christmas, and I did. And they also had this nice pattern with the snowflakes as well. But what I got my sister was this one. It's very, very soft. I love the color. She likes pink. But I noticed the other night on Sunday when I was working that they put a few more of these blankets out. Well, now they were $13.99 when I bought the one for my sister, but they had them marked down $7 off, so down to $6.99 each. And of course, that's before my staff discount. So I bought 4. I like these. I like both of these patterns myself. Both the blankets are very, very soft. So these 2 are going to be for me, for us to use at home. One with the snowflakes and one with the polar bears. So one of each color. They're going to be for us to use here at home. And the other 2, I don't know who they're going to yet, but I'm going to set these aside for Christmas gifts for Christmas 2026. At $6.99 each, which basically is another 70 cents off of that. Pardon me, if my 10% off is another 70 cents off of each one, bringing them down to about $6.29 each for a throw blanket. I thought that's a really good price. So that's what I did. I bought 2 for us and 2 to save for gifts for Christmas 2026. They're going to be put away in a bag in the closet and kept for next Christmas gifts. Next year's Christmas gifts. I don't know who they're going to go to yet. One of them I may send to one of my other sisters, or I even have a friend in mind that would probably enjoy one of these too. So I thought that was a good idea. Just buy ahead a little bit. And then the only other thing I bought, which is actually a grocery item, were some bananas. And they were $1.88. So my staff discount was $3.93, and I redeemed $20 in points. So I'm out of pocket $8.85. Now remember, these blankets were $13.99 each regular, and they were down to $6.99, and then 10% off of that too. So for me to buy 4 blankets that are about $14 regular price each, that's $56 right there. And then some bananas just for the household, for the fruit bowl, to only be out of pocket $8.85 for those 5 items, I thought was pretty decent. But I did redeem $20 in points to do that. So there's my redemption. That left me with a closing balance of 10,131 Scene Plus points, or $100 of Scene Plus points. So as I said, I broke my rule of not spending my points, because usually I save them from January to December. But I didn't use all of my points up in December at Christmas time. I'd had some left over. So I felt it was okay in this case, because I looked at those blankets and I thought, at that price they're going to sell. And I didn't really know that I needed to set some money aside in my budget, because I don't get paid until later this week. So I didn't want to spend what little was left in my budget just on these blankets. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to redeem $20 of points, because I didn't use them all up at Christmas like I planned to. And I'll still be left with $100 of points to start January 2026 off with, to start the new year off with, start rebuilding again. So that's what I did, because I didn't want to mess up my budget by spending money I didn't need to out of my bank account right now. So use the points. I didn't use them all up in December like I'd planned, so I had them to spend. And now that I've done that, now we're almost at mid-January by the time this gets posted. And I can continue rebuilding both my Scene Plus points and my PC Optimum points throughout 2026. So that's what I did. I spent $20 in points, spent $8.85 for all of this. And this wraps up my video, finally. This is a bit longer one than normal, but that's because there's been multi-parts to it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And if you've been able to bear with me for the length of this one, thank you. I thank you for watching, and thank you for those that have subscribed. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you give a thumbs up and leave a comment down below, and stay tuned for the next video. I do get paid later this week, so I'm anticipating doing a grocery shop probably on the weekend, or at least part of a grocery shop. So stay tuned. I'm sure I'll be posting another video within the next week or so. Have a great week, everybody, and if you like this one, definitely subscribe and give it a thumbs up and a comment, and we'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody. See you soon.